Hi guys, welcome to Ink Bros Gaming. My name is Brandon. Today we are once again returning to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! I do sincerely apologise that it has been at least 2 months since the last vlog. I do feel like I do owe an explanation. Pretty much long story short is that life has kind of gotten in the way, and since the last Sydney YCS vlog, Grand J Games has moved locations and has also changed their times into which they hold their tournaments. And because of my work schedule, I'm unable to attend. Pretty much this is the case for any other local shops in that I have work commitments, and so pretty much up until now, I haven't been able to attend any locals, which means I haven't been able to do any vlogs. I do sincerely appreciate that you guys have stuck around and you've been watching the Last of Us stream series that we've been doing.
Oh, a brick! Yes. I'll definitely swap that out. As a Dark Magician player, I'm very familiar with bricks.
But anyway, I think let's get straight back into it. Let's get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! What the f*** is a pendulum card? What better way to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Than heading to the new location of Grand J Games. The shop is so much more bigger than the last one, so much more room for activities. I've missed Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot, and I've missed playing with good friends, and so I'm really looking forward to today. Also, because it's been 2 months since I've last played any Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm very, very rusty. And so I've called in a favour from our good friend Karim. Karim was very kind enough to lend me his branded deck, which I'll be using today. And here is the deck list. So as you know, the branded deck is something I've been wanting to get into for a while. Up until now, I've been kind of playing a hybrid of branded and Dark Magicians because that's what I'm most familiar with. But today I'm going full branded, but of course Dark Magician has found its way into the deck and I still use Dragoon. So it makes me feel good that I'm not completely abandoning my roots, but I am playing something entirely new today, and I'm very, very nervous. I've only been able to experience the branded deck through Master Duel as well as through my games using Dark Magicians as well, so I've never played a pure version of the deck, and I also haven't played a single game in a new format. So before we started today, I sat down with Karim and he walked me through what are the decks that I need to look out for and what are the dominant ones today.
Catch format, branded format, lab format, there's a lot.
For me, as a more of a casual player wanting to learn to be a bit more competitive, I'm glad to hear that the format has changed and that the deck lists are a bit more diverse than just 2 elements. So with a quick rundown of how the deck works and what combos I should try out, I was into my very first game after 2 months. My first game of the day was against Harrison and his Stardust Dragon deck. So I'm always very happy to be playing an anime deck and seeing Stardusts in action, and it was also a good opportunity for me to be able to learn how my deck works in a non-meta game.
Don't panic.
I'm going to be panicking the entire time. And so I always enjoy dueling Harrison. We always have a bit of a laugh when we play. The first game was very much a struggle in that I was still trying to get used to how the deck operated, and I found that I was burning through a lot of card resources than I initially intended to make plays, and I found myself leaning into older strategies that the deck isn't really built for, like bringing out Dragoon more so than the other boss monsters in the deck. However, in this game, I won the first round, and I won the second. On the board, we have 1 win for today with the branded deck. The next game was going to show me exactly what the new meta is about. I was versing Traptrix. Now, Joshua was operating the Traptrix deck by combining the 3 new structure decks that have recently come out and pulled them together. And what I've heard on the grapevine is that even that alone is quite tough to beat, and it certainly was a challenge. Fortunate enough to win the dice roll, so I was able to go first and set up a pretty strong board to beat. And unfortunately for Joshua, he wasn't able to get through, and so he scooped, and then we moved into round 2. Having the first turn in round 2, he was able to set off a lot of traps that I was unable to get around, and I knew for me that I wasn't going to win by any shot, and he was able to take game 2. Game 3, I was able to start first, thankfully, so I was once again able to start with a pretty strong board, and now I have a good sense of how the Traptrix work, and so I was able to win game 3, and so now we have 2 wins on the board using the branded deck. I am very shocked I was able to win 2 games back to back. I was more shocked in that I really don't know how this deck works, and I'm sorry that this vlog doesn't have a bit more of a breakdown of how I made the plays, because I don't even know how I made the plays. Definitely using unorthodox strategies with this deck, and I'm definitely not playing it the way it's intended to. Game 3 was against Robert and another Traptrix deck. However, this Traptrix deck was fully stacked and had a lot of support cards, and so I was facing a much tougher game. Just like the last game, I was able to start first and was able to set up a pretty strong board, once again relying on Dragoon rather than the typical branded plays. And through Dragoon and some other cheeky plays that I made, I was able to win the first game. Game 2 once again passed to Robert, and things were pretty tough from there. His deck was able to run circles around branded, and I didn't stand a chance. And even though I tried to fight pretty hard to try and stay in the game, I knew that I was going to lose, so I elected to scoop. And so we then went into round 3, in which I had the option of going first again. Game 3, I attempted to set up a pretty strong board, but me not being really aware of the meta and how the cards work nowadays, I did overextend, and then I was faced with Nibiru, and I lost all my big strong monsters that I was able to set up. However, just like in the YCS game in the last vlog, I was able to use Big Rock to my advantage. Fortunately enough, none of the Traptrix monsters were able to get over it, so I was able to stay in the game long enough by stalling using Big Rock as well as some other monsters, and through time finishing, I was able to win because I had more life points, so this meant I won 3 games in a row. Now, if you've been following the series, this has never happened to me before. I was completely shocked, and even more shocked because I still, at this point, have no idea what I am doing with the deck. I am very much using this deck list very unorthodox, and I'm relying on older plays that I usually make using Dark Magicians and branded, not necessarily pure branded. And I think I was only able to bring out Mirror Jade once in these 3 games, and I didn't even use it properly. A lot of the cards I was relying on that end up being MVPs throughout were Dragoon, Artesia, and Blazing Masquerade. Those 3 were working wonders for me. And so far, I found the biggest issues against my branded deck was Nibiru and Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom has come back with a vengeance, and I cannot tell you how many times I was stopped from making plays from just being hand trapped to death. The final game was against Kevin and his Labyrinth deck. The final game of the day, and I'm versing a deck that I've never played against, using a deck that I've never played with. So odds are very, very stacked against me right now. Game 1, I was very fortunate enough to set up a pretty strong board, and thankfully I wasn't a Nibiru, but I was Lava Golem twice, and I lost my entire field, and I was put into a pretty tough spot. However, just like the Traptrix round, I was able to use these Lava Golems to my advantage. Even though I was getting burned from life points, literally, I was able to get a few swings in, and I was able to take game 1. Game 2 was extremely tough, and I made so many misplays. It's definitely something I need to be aware of going forward. If I want to use branded, I need to know how this deck works, because I misplayed so many times and it was to my detriment, and I lost round 2. Going into the final round, I kind of had a good sense of how labyrinths work. I knew what I needed to get in place, and I knew there wasn't much time left in the game. And so for me, I knew I had to try and set up a decent board quickly enough, and I figured that because there isn't much time left, and I know that Labyrinth takes quite a bit of setup to get going, I knew that I had to get Masquerade the Blazing Dragon out in the field to at least burn his life points a little bit if we were going to run into time. Thankfully, my strategy played off with Masquerade and was able to burn through a good chunk of his life points before time is called, and I won. And because I won the final round, I topped locals using a deck that I've never played with before. For the very first time in the Return to Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, I not only won all 4 rounds, I was first place at Grand J Games. And it does show me that, hey, branded definitely seems to be the way to go. And so I know from going forward, I am going to be working on the branded deck a lot more, and I'm going to have to thank Kerem profusely for giving me the deck to use for today. Most of the cards I already have for myself, but I am going to have to go hunting for some of these, including Crossout Designators, Lightning Storms, and other cards I still need to get for myself. A very surreal day, but I had to celebrate by buying a box of Maze of Memories, which I haven't been able to get my hands on because I've been away for quite some time, and opened it with all my friends at Grand J Games. Now, I did spend a little bit too much money, but I was just really happy to be back with people that I enjoy spending time with, start picking card packs, and hunting down for some rare cards. I was able to get myself a Collector Rare Jewel Academy, which is definitely going to be going into the collection, as well as some Gate Guardian cards, which are super nostalgic for me. And so, all in all, this is a pretty good day. That is all I have time for this vlog. I do apologise that this was a considerably shorter one. As I mentioned at the start, it is going to be hard for me doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Vlogs going forward unless my work-life schedule changes and I'm able to attend more locals. However, the very next episode I'm going to be working on is my 1-year anniversary of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I do have a few ideas of what I'm going to be doing for that vlog, but if you guys have any suggestions of what I could talk about in my 1 year of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh!, make sure to comment below and I'll see if I can include them in the video. But otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in once again, and I'll see you when I see you.